All right, guys, good morning. Happy Monday. We're getting closer to the end of the 9 weeks, so try to finish strong. And then we have one more 9 weeks left to go in the school year, and then we're out for summer. So let's go ahead and finish strong. Today, we're going to do 2 lessons. Okay, lesson 14 is pretty short, and 15 is kind of a regular, more shorter lesson as well. So I decided to combine those two today. So we're going to go ahead and do these 2 lessons today. So lessons 14's objective tells us I can use ordered pairs to name points in a grid and to locate points on a map. Okay, so ordered pairs are what we're going to be calling X and Y. Okay, and they're always going to be in parentheses, and they're going to be points on a coordinate plane. Okay, and we're going to talk about that in more depth here in a bit. Okay, so exercise 1 tells us the first coordinates of the ordered pairs represents the number on the labeled X. Okay, so this is the x-axis. X is always horizontal, and the second coordinates represent the numbers on the line labeled Y. Okay, this is Y. Y is always vertical, up and down. Okay, so remember, X is vertical or is horizontal, Y is vertical. Okay, name the letter from the grid below that corresponds with each ordered pair of numbers below. Okay, so the first one we have is 1 and 4. Okay, 1 and 4. And how we read this, the first number is X, the second number is Y. So first, you're going to go horizontally, okay? And we're going to go 1 to the right, which is right here. But then it's 4 for the Y, so that means we need to go up 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is the one we're talking about, okay? So under A, we would write F, okay? Now let's look at B, okay? B is at 0, and it stays at 0. Then it goes up 5, so B would be at A, okay? Now let's look at C. C is 4 and 1. Over 4, up 1, that is at B, okay? And D is at 8.5 and 8. D is at 8.5, okay? And 8. So this is this one right here. That's going to be L. Now E is a little bit different because it has a negative number. Okay, so we're going to go over to 5. Now we're going to go down to -2. So that is G. Letter F is 5 and 4.2. 5 and 4.2, which is going to be the first one, and it's H, okay? And G is 2 and -1. Over 2 down to -1, that is C. And letter H, the last one, is 0 and 9, and that's going to be E. Okay, there was a few there that we didn't use. They were trying to confuse us on, okay? So those we did not use. Okay, so things to remember. Ordered pairs are always X, Y. X is horizontal, Y is vertical. Okay, now, number 2 says list the ordered pair of numbers that corresponds with each letter from the grid below. Okay, so letter A tells us point M. This is point M. We're going to go over to 5 and up to 7. So my ordered pair is going to be 5 and 7. And we always write these ordered pairs in parentheses separated by a comma. Okay, let's look at P. Letter S. Okay, now we're going horizontally but in the negatives. So we're at -2 and then up to 3. Okay, so this is -2 and 3. Okay, letter C is point N. Okay, point N is here. We go horizontal to 6, but we don't go up, so it stays at 0. So letter C, or point N, is 6 and 0. Okay, now let's do T. T is right here. We're going to go over to -3, up to +2. So this is going to be -3 and 2. Letter F is point U. Okay. Point U, we are going to 7 and then up to 5. Okay. 7 and then up to 5. Oh, geez, guys, I wrote point T in the wrong place. -3 and 2. So I skipped point P. Point P is right here. So we're at 0 and then we're up to 6. So it's 0 and 6. Sorry about that. Now we're at point Q. Okay, point Q is right here. We're over 2, up 3. Okay, the X is 2, the Y is 3. And that's how we write it. Okay, point V is right here. Okay, point V is right there. So we're going to go over to -1 and then up 6 to V. So it's -1 and 6. And then point I is the last one, or point R is the last one. And we see it right here. We're still at 0 and then we're up to 3. Still at 0 and then up to 3. Okay. So the lesson summary for 14 says the order of numbers in an ordered pair is important because the ordered pair should describe one location in the coordinate plane. The first number, called the first coordinate, describes a location using the horizontal direction, and that's the x-axis. Okay. The second number, called the second coordinate, describes a location using the vertical direction, which is the y-axis. Okay. It is the y-axis. So we're going to do it quick on the problem set. It says use the set of ordered pairs below to answer each question. Okay. So it says letter A, we have a list of ordered pairs. Okay. And letter A says write the ordered pairs whose first and second coordinates have a greatest common factor of 3. Okay. And I see 2 here. The answer would be 15 and 3 and 6 and 15. Letter B says write the ordered pairs whose first coordinate is a factor of its second coordinate. Okay, his first coordinate is a factor of its second coordinate, which means its first x-axis coordinate goes into the y coordinate. So this would be 4 and 20, 6 and 30, 1 and 5, and 6 and 18. Letter C says, write the ordered pair whose second coordinate is a prime number. Okay, a prime number is a number that can only be divided by 1 and itself. Okay, so this would be 2 and 3, 15 and 3, 1 and 5, and 0 and 3. Okay. Now, number 2 says, write ordered pairs that represent the locations of points A, B, C, and D, where the first coordinate represents the horizontal direction and the second coordinate represents the vertical direction. So let's start with A. Okay, A is at 4 and then up 1, so this is going to be 4 and 1. Okay, let's do B. B is in the negative, so we're over to 1 and then down to -3. So this is 1 and -3. Now let's do C. C is over 6 and it stays on the x-axis, so it's 0. So it's 6 and 0. Okay? And D is the last one. D is at 1 and then up to 4. Okay? Awesome. All right, guys, that is lesson 14. let's go ahead and get started with lesson 15. Lesson 15 tells us I can extend my understanding of the coordinate plane to include all 4 quadrants and recognize that the axis of the coordinate plane divide the plane into 4 regions called quadrants. I can locate ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. Okay, so these are some of the words we're going to be talking about. Remember, the x-axis is the horizontal line on our coordinate plane. The y-axis is the vertical. Okay, the x-coordinates is the first number in our ordered pair. The y-coordinate is the second number. The origin is the middle of the coordinate plane, and its origin is going to be 0 and 0. That's the ordered pair. And a coordinate pair is just the x and y in parentheses. Okay, so it can be 1 and 2, whatever that ordered pair is. Okay. Now describe the x-axis. Considering what we've seen in the module, what types of numbers should it include? Okay, well, the x-axis is horizontal. It's a horizontal number line, so it's going to include 0 in the middle, positive numbers to the right, negative numbers to the left. Okay, that's why we spent so much time on number lines, just to get to this. Okay, now example 1 says the point below represents 0 on the number line. Draw a number line to the right starting at 0, then follow direction as provided to the teacher. So we're just going to go ahead and make our own coordinate plane real quick. Okay, and I'm going to start with 1, 2, 3, 4, -1, -2, -3, and -4. Now we're not done because I need my, and this is my x-axis, I need my y-axis. Okay, okay, so pretty much what a coordinate plane is a horizontal number line and a vertical number line put together. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, example 2 says all points on the coordinate plane are described with reference to the origin. What is the origin and what are the coordinates? So the origin is where the x and the y intersect. Okay, and the coordinates of the origin would be 0 and 0. It is in the middle. Okay, to describe locations of points in the coordinate plane, we use ordered pairs of numbers. Remember, the ordered pairs are the x and y, okay, in parentheses. Order is important, so on the coordinate plane, we use the form x and y. The first coordinate represents the point's location from 0 on the x-axis, and the second coordinate represents the point's location from 0 on the y-axis. Okay? Good. Now, examples 1 through 3. Okay? Letter A says graph at least 5 points on the x-axis and label their coordinates. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is 1 and 0, and then 2 and 0, 3 and 0, 4 and 0, and 5 and 0. Okay, what do the coordinates have in common? Okay, the y is always equaling 0. Okay, because it is on the y-axis. If any point is on the y-axis, it's going to be, if any number is on the x-axis, it's going to have a y of 0. Okay. Now, what must be true about any point that lies on the x-axis? Okay. If it lies on an x-axis, then the y coordinate must be 0. Okay? So, example 3 says, the x and y axis divide the coordinate plane into regions called quadrants. Why are the regions called quadrants? Well, there are 4 of them. Okay? Which of the 4 regions did you work most in 5th grade? And why was it the only region you used? So in 5th grade, mostly you used the quadrant 1. Okay? And we write these in Roman numerals. Okay? The upper right quadrant is quadrant 1. The remaining quadrants are numbered moving counterclockwise from quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, okay, and then quadrant 4. All right. The first top left region is quadrant 2. Label quadrant 2 on your work page. These regions only make up half the coordinate plane. Where does the other half of the coordinate plane come from? The quadrants of the coordinate plane are in counterclockwise direction, starting with quadrant 1. Label the remaining quadrants. Okay? So anything below 0 is going to be negative. Okay? So these are always going to have negatives in them. Okay? These over here as well. Okay? Let's continue. Okay, number 4 says locate and label each point described by the ordered pairs below. Indicate which of the quadrants the points lie in. Okay, so we're going to locate 7 and 2. So I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2. That's in quadrant 1. Okay, then I go 3 down to negative 4. And it's right there. This is A, this is B. That is in quadrant 4. Okay. Letter C is at 1 and negative 5. 1 and negative 5. That is also in quadrant 4. D is negative 3, so I go to the left and then up 8. And that is quadrant 2. And then when both numbers are negative, that's always going to be quadrant 3, okay? So negative 2 ends in negative 1. That is quadrant 3, okay? And we write quadrants in Roman numerals. So I don't know why. That's just how we are told to do it. So it says write the coordinates of at least one other point in each of the 4 quadrants. So quadrant 1, let's come up with the point in quadrant 1. I'm just going to say 7 and 7, okay? Both of these, that ordered pair is in quadrant 1. Now let's do quadrant 2. Quadrant 2, the first number needs to be negative. The second number needs to be positive. So let's do negative 5 and 4, okay? Quadrant 3, both numbers are going to be negative. So negative 2 and negative 6. And in quadrant 4, okay, the first number is positive, the second number is negative. So it's going to be 3 and negative 7. Okay, so it says, do you see any similarities in the points within each quadrant? Well, yes. So in quadrant 1, both numbers are going to be positive. In quadrant 2, the first number is going to be negative. The second number is going to be positive. In quadrant 3, both numbers are negative. And in quadrant 4, the first number, the x, is positive and the y is negative. And that's the rule. That's always going to be true. Okay, guys? So the lesson summary tells us the x and y axis of the coordinate plane are number lines that intersect at 0 on each number line. The axis partition the coordinate plane into 4 quadrants, okay? Points in the coordinate plane lie either on the axis or in one of the 4 quadrants, okay? So you have a problem set that looks like this, okay? You make your own coordinate plane if you need to, okay? Remember the rules. Go back to the video if you need help. Okay? Tell me which each of those points, in which quadrant each of those points lie in, and then answer number 2 and turn it in. All right, guys, have a great Monday. Have a great rest of the day. We will see you tomorrow.